All right, everybody, welcome back to the Cause to Become podcast, episode 6. And today, you can tell, we're in an MMA gym here, we're in the ring, and we're sitting ringside right in the corner here with MMA fighter Johnny Garcia. And Johnny, if you mind introducing yourself to the people, telling them a little bit about who you are.
What's up, guys? I'm Johnny Garcia. I'm an MMA fighter right here, raised in the IE. I train with Marcos Loro Galvao at MLG Academy in Cali Mesa, and I train right here at Icon MMA with Coach Sam Mason and all the great pros we have here. So that's me.
Heck yeah, man. So with that, we want to really get into a conversation here of kind of inside the mind of a fighter, and want to learn about Johnny's background, what kind of brought him to choose a career in MMA, and also to learn about more in a fighter as well when it comes to faith and when it comes to plans for a future. And we got to understand who's crazy enough to do this. So I think it should be a really good conversation here, and I hope anybody watching this can tune in and really start to learn the mind behind a fighter. And if this is something that you want to do as a young man or anybody, that you can hopefully find some motivation and inspiration from Johnny's story here. And so with that, I'm your host, Elijah Robert-Mahdi Soto, and let's get into it. All right, Johnny, so we're here today, and we're going to go ahead and unpack mind of a fighter, what life is like. But before we start off, here at Cause to Become, the whole goal of the podcast is to help people become the best version of themselves, the highest version of themselves. So when you're wearing the hat, when you're wearing the brand, we're trying to say like, hey, everybody around to elevate, to grow, to get better, whether it's fighting or it's building a business or building a family, whatever it is, we hope to inspire that. So this is our gift to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for what you do and doing something deviant, man. I love people who are choosing, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to go after it with my whole heart.
Thank you, bro.
So with that, of course, bro. So with that, I guess let's dive in, man. Like, what was it like, early childhood, you kind of growing up, and like, when did you have that moment where you were like, yeah, I want to be a fighter?
So almost as far back as I can remember, I've wanted to be a fighter. I played t-ball a little bit. Maybe I was like 4 or 5 or something. But there was a flyer that used to go around school. It was like a karate flyer, and I always wanted to do it. And one day my parents said, all right, the next time the flyer comes, I'll let you sign up. And it came, and they let me sign up, and it was like they called it karate, but he taught more of Muay Thai. It was at a church right there in Westmont. Mm-hmm. And I would go every Friday, and for years that was how I started. That was how I started fighting, and that was kind of the focus of my life always. I started competing. I had my first fight at 6, so that's kind of always been the center of my life.
Yeah. Okay, so like at 6 years old, you have your first fight. What are you thinking at 6 years old? Are you like, this is crazy? Or are you like, yeah, let's go? Like,
I can't really remember, but I'll say like I remember that he would have us line up next to our opponent, so there would be the ring right here. Everybody would be fighting, and the crowd, and down this way would be like we would all line up next to each other. So we would have to sit next to our opponent like for like however long, maybe like 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. Like, yeah. So I remember that being pretty intense, being a little kid, like, dude, we're gonna go fight right now. Like, there would be like kids throwing up, like it was intense fights. So I can't remember what I was thinking, but I just remember like it being pretty intense.
Yeah.
So
got you. So you're fighting at 6. Your parents finally let you join it. You're in there. You're having fun. You're like, yeah, I like this.
Yeah. I've always loved it ever since. Yeah. I've always excelled at it. Mm-hmm. I've always kind of stood off as like somebody that things just click for me. So especially being a young kid, when you're good at something, you love it. So that's just kind of how that happened.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Okay, so you're seeing success, you enjoy it, right? You're sparring, you're fighting, you're having fun. What's the moment that you go from, hey, this is a cool thing to do, to this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, or at least this is what I want to do for my career for the first part of my life? Like, what was the moment when you pulled the trigger and like, yeah, I'm all the way 100%? Because I know you talked about when you were doing one of your post-fight interviews, you said like, straight out of high school, this is what I wanted to do. I didn't work a regular job. Like I'm in this. So when did you have that moment? Like, I'm committed.
I guess it's always been something that was instilled in me. I can't remember like a moment that I was like, okay, I want to fight for my life. I just have, as long as I can remember, I've always wanted to fight.
Yeah.
I guess, thankfully my parents always like instilled in me that I'm good at this, and if I want to do this, I can do this. And when I was a kid, is around the time the UFC started being a thing, and maybe my parents just like seen it like if he wants to do it, he could do it. And I was good at it, and so I've just always wanted to do it, and my parents always have believed in me. So yeah,
dude, I mean, I think that's huge when your parents believe in you. And they support you and they believe in your dream. Definitely. I think that can go a heck of a long way. So, I think that's a moment. When I look back at my life, I realize how grateful I am to have parents who supported me in doing whatever it is, right? Like making a podcast or, pursuing whatever sport, I think that's pretty cool. So that's an important part and something that we can always find like gratitude in there for sure. So there's a question of, okay, you like fighting. What makes you go MMA versus boxing versus BJJ versus, Muay Thai? Like, what makes you go like, I'm doing it all?
So I guess how I transitioned over from just doing the Muay Thai was my parents ended up meeting somebody at the karate class that I did. I did really good, and I became like a junior instructor for the coach right there. So in the class before mine, my parents met somebody, and I became friends with that kid, and their uncle happened to be a coach at Etiwanda High School for wrestling. And so just naturally, I ended up doing some wrestling with them, and then from wrestling, there was that coach knew a guy that his name was Johnny. He was a fighter at Millennia MMA, and that was just the next step. It just naturally happened. I ended up going to Millennia MMA. I met my longtime coach, Jeff Frater, and that's how I discovered like actually what MMA is, that there's wrestling and there's jiu-jitsu and there's striking. I kind of always knew, like, I would mess around with my dad. My dad would have me put him in an arm bar even before I did jiu-jitsu. So I kind of always knew, but when I went to Millennium MMA and I met Jeff, and that's when I like started to really realize what MMA is.
Got you. And so once you realized what it is, you were like, yeah, this is what I want to do?
Yeah. I've always fought, so yeah.
It seems like MMA is the closest thing to man versus man. Like, let's see who's better here. I guess, like, is that an approach that you take when you enter the ring?
Yeah, I love that. I love it. I love it. I always think I'm stronger. I'm always going to believe in myself. So
100%. That
test is great. And sometimes it's just not your night, and there's sometimes like you really are stronger. It's just not your night. So I love that test, definitely.
So when you step into the ring, let's say when you step into your first MMA fight for the first time, right? You step in there, this is real, like, lights are on, you got the crowd, people around you, you're looking at your opponent across, the cage. What's going through your mind?
My first, after I was 18 MMA fight, what was going through my mind was like, this is the moment. Like, this is the moment. Like, this is what I've been waiting for. Yeah. So that was going through my mind.
So it was excitement.
Yeah, I had been I did pancreation. I did the pancreation circuit, the USFL. Shout out to the USFL. That's a great league. So it was always even when I was 13, I wanted to go do some King of the Cage fights on the Indian reservation so I could fight an adult and do a real MMA fight. Yeah. So I had been wanting to do a real MMA fight. So I was just like, let's go. Finally, it's my time.
Hell yeah. So you're looking across and you see him. What's the look in his eyes? Is it like, let's go? Like, you see he's locked in, you guys look at each other and you're like...
Yeah. I've always fought tough guys, so yeah, it's always like we're always looking at each other like, let's go.
That's awesome, man. Okay, so before we dive into more, I want to talk about your fights. I want to talk about what happens after. One of the things I'm curious about is to understand who and what inspires you in fighting. So who do you model your style off of? Who do you model your game off of? Who were the big inspirations? I know behind the scenes we were talking, you said maybe there's not one clear person. but like who are some of the big ones that you kind of like right now?
You know, I can't say that I have like certain big people that I, you know, take things from or try to like model myself like. I take what I see people that are successful with that maybe are similar to my body type, and I try to implement those things. I don't like I do what I do best, what my coaches bring to me that I do best. I study a lot, but then I'll try things with my coaches, and if they think that's good, then I'll continue that. But more than anything, I look at the character of the fighters, the greats, and I try to model myself after that, because I'm gonna have a long career in this. So I want to build that. I want to be a good person in this. So
yeah. That's huge, actually. So you're saying like, okay, I'm not just trying to learn a particular, you know, kick or a particular strike or a particular submission. You're trying to be like, okay, what is it that makes, you know, like let's just say John Jones, or like what is it that makes Israel Adesanya like so great? You know, obviously those guys are in your weight class, but when you're looking at these guys, like people who are kind of big in the spotlight or at least have found a lot of success, right? Like what makes them great? And you're trying to unpack it from the level of what's the mindset, what's the training, what's the work ethic, what are they like paying attention to in the fight, and you want to apply those principles to you and your fighting. So there's a big self-belief in that you as an individual are going to be your own fighter with your own style, and you want to pull in the work ethic, the character, the mindset stuff that you can apply for yourself.
definitely.
Got you. That's cool, man. So that seems like an interesting take, because I think a lot of people are like, oh, I want to be just like this person, you know, like they see someone in the ring and they're like, that's exactly, you know, I want to be like a McGregor or, you know, like an Islam or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so with you're like, nah, bro, like I'm about to go against people at this caliber. Like I believe in myself fully. I'm gonna develop my style and create my own unique stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
And you mentioned your coaches too, and so like it seems like one of the aspects of people who are great in anything is that they have people who are mentoring them, coaching them, and they can take advice and stuff. Would you say that's like a strength of yours, of being coachable?
Oh yeah, definitely. I check my ego at the door. I learn from everybody as much as I can, especially the coaches I have. My coaches are great. I'll put my coaches up against anybody. Coach Sam Mason and Coach Marcos Laura Gaval, bro, the knowledge that I have from them is great. So yeah, definitely.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. So in this, you're getting into MMA, you have your coaches, you're watching, you're learning your style, you're learning the character and everything. Like, what would you say are like the foundational things in MMA that you're working on and trying to improve, trying to be the best? You're talking about like, you know, the head movement of a certain guy. Like, what are some things right now that you're really trying to hone in on for yourself?
Just trying to be a complete fighter. I love to strike, but I got to be able to do everything. Well, I am able to do everything. It's more just getting myself to, you know, I don't have to strike with somebody all day if I know I can strike with them better, or if I hurt them, it's time to take them down and finish this fight instead of just having fun on the feet. I'm just looking more into dominating. I don't need to fight none of these guys. I'm better than a lot of these. I'm the best, so I'm gonna go in and dominate, and that's what I'm working on.
Hell yeah,
domination.
Hell yeah. I love that, bro. Sometimes I'll talk to people and they tell me about a dream or a goal they have, and they go, oh, you know, I really want to, you know, be this successful and make $1 million. Oh, I really want to, you know, make it to that school, or I really want to, you know, have this job, or I really want to start this venture or whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, so you believe in yourself, you're training like you're the best, you're putting in the reps, you're working hard as if you're the best. Like, oh yeah, you know, but sometimes I get busy and this and that. It's like, bro, if you can't walk in here loud and proud with your chest and say, I am the best, I am the greatest, I believe in myself 100%, I'm going to treat myself and show up like I am 100%. The same way, when you said I am the best, you would have raised your voice on that, right?
Yeah.
Because that's some real stuff. That's when it's like, you fully believe in yourself. How have you fostered this self-belief, man? How have you come to the place in which you're like, fuck yeah, I am the best, I want to dominate, I want to pursue the UFC, and I want to be a champion? How did you foster that, man? Because that's something that I hope everybody can foster in themselves. This idea of believing in themselves, right? We wear the crown here on this because it's like, that's the king, that's the queen, that's the highest, you know? And so like, how did you come to that? Because I think that's great.
The Lord, bro. The Lord.
There we go.
Because I firmly believe that this is the plan he has for me in this life. So the Lord, bro, the Lord. That's how I know I'm the best, because this is the plan that God has for me. So it might take all these training sessions and hard training sessions and runs on the hills, but I'm the best because this is the plan the Lord has for me. And the Lord, I have faith in the Lord.
Absolutely. So speaking to that, man, faith seems to be something that's central to anybody who achieves at a high level, right? When you talk about, great fighters, Khabib, right? Faith is super important for him. When you talk about, other great people, entrepreneurs, they talk about their faith, right? Anybody who's accomplishing something great, they'll reference whatever it is that they believe in that higher power there. Like, what's your relationship like with faith and fighting? How do you feel like, did you get a moment where like you kind of, you connected with God and kind of were he's able to speak to you? Like, what has that been like? Just curious.
So there's two parts of it. I've always believed that this is a plan that God has for me, but more so to elevate my life and my family's life and bring us up a level in life, But these days, I'm a lot closer to the Lord than I was previously, and my plan is to build my platform through fighting and share the word through that and inspire people to be good people, especially like young men. We have such little good influences these days, and I just feel called to build my platform and spread the word and spread positivity to young men to be good men, because I understand how difficult it is to grow into good men. So,
bro, that's super powerful. That's why I think that when I was watching you fight, I could tell that there was like a spirit, like something where it's like, hey, you came out there with the fire, right? And I know when I see that in people that there's this something deeper that they're tapping into, and you enter that flow state, you enter that mode that's just different, that hyper presence, that connectedness and awareness. And that's why I'm curious too about like how your faith is impacting you, because I saw one of the things that was super impactful that drew me to your profile and to learn about you was that, yes, you have your training videos, yes, you have your sparring, you have your time on the bag and BJJ and everything, but you also have your daily scriptures and you share those with your audience, right? Yeah. And you're like, what's up, fam? And you talk about what the daily scripture is. That's awesome, man. How did you get into doing that, and why do you continue to do that?
That was a lot more recently. I've used my story on my Instagram to put a lot of different things out there. Anybody that's known me for a while, 3 years ago, I was posting a lot of different things. I was promoting a lot of different things, and realizing that I have a platform that there's anybody that pays attention to my social media, like if I could spread positivity, I will. And when I open up my Bible, I find gold, and I love sharing that with people, because like I said, there's so little good influence in this world, so I just love sharing that gold with everybody.
Yeah. Is there a particular verse or a particular scripture or something that resonates for you before a fight? Like, is there one that really hits home, that motivates you, inspires you, or helps you to feel that protection and that spirit being with you?
I can't say a specific verse, but I'll say, me and my father pray before every fight, and that is a moment that's very sacred for me. Me and my dad, and now my coaches, we pray together, so that's great. I love that. But more than anything, before my fight, me and my dad pray, and it's a moment where I just, a lot of fighters say they turn into a different person. After that prayer is the moment where I'm different. Yeah. So, more than anything that.
What's the difference between Johnny after that prayer and then the Johnny that we meet on the street, just hanging out?
I'm just ready for war, for real war. Like, no matter what happens, like, I'm just ready for war. Like, there's just, to go in there and not worry about, like, any pain or bruises or, getting something broken. Like, it's a different mindset you gotta have. You gotta not care about anything. Yeah. And after that, it's just like, I just give it up to God. That's a great way to explain it. I give it up to God. I prayed with the Lord, and whatever's gonna happen in that ring is God's will. So let's go do it.
Dude, I got chills all over my body right now. You wanna know why? Because my understanding is, in your moment of your greatest strength, of you being out there in the center stage, man versus man, you're fighting, everything's on the line. I mean, your life is on the line here, right?
Yeah.
That moment of your greatest strength and of your greatest presence comes right after full surrender to God.
Yeah, definitely.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's almost contradictory to some people. They say, like, yeah, how you're surrendering, you're relinquishing, you're giving this to God, but then yet that's your moment of your greatest power. That's pretty cool. And I think for anybody who struggles with faith and whatever, faith or religion that they are thinking about, it, that calls to them, like, I think for anybody that kind of struggles with that, knowing that from you, to understand that you are the most powerful and the most present and the most capable, and feeling in touch with God, and being able to go out there and build your platform through fighting after you have fully surrendered to God. Man, dude, that's really cool. I think sometimes people struggle to have that surrender, but we all know, like, that's when you really meet God. Like, did you have a moment in your life when, you said a couple years ago you were posting things that were different? Was there a moment where you kind of were on the knees, literally or metaphorically, and you're like, trying to speak to God?
Yeah, man. So I grew up in the church. I was very strong in I've always been strong in my faith. I never lost that, but actively living for the Lord, I really strayed around high school. I went through a lot of things, and I didn't understand why God put me through that, and I was really angry, and I strayed, and so I wasn't living for the Lord for a long time. And I'd say the last 8 months, I've been really trying to get into the Lord. And, I got to a moment where I've been really wanting to be the best version of myself, for myself and for everybody around me. I want to be the best influence, and I couldn't fix me myself. I couldn't fix all the things. I couldn't be who I wanted to be. I couldn't do it myself. And it wasn't through a lack of effort, because I really tried.
Yeah.
I really, really tried for a really long time to shed things and be the best version of myself for the people around me, but I couldn't do it myself. And that was my come to Jesus moment. Like, I surrender. I can't do it myself. I need you. So whatever that's going to take, they say you got to die to yourself. I died to myself. I don't care about nothing, about no opinions. I don't care about no worldly stuff. I just want the Lord and the plan the Lord has for me.
Yeah.
And because I wanted to change, and I know that's the only way, is just to come to Him. And just, if you're going to ask the Lord for change, you're asking the Lord to bless your life, bro. You're asking for a higher power to instill things in you. And that's a crazy blessing you're asking for.
Yeah.
And you got to work towards that. You got to live for that. And I wasn't. And so I changed that.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool. What I've come to understand, because I've grappled with faith, and I think everyone does, right? I think it actually brings you closer to God, closer to a connection to a higher power when you do question. And I think it's important, or you stray away and you understand. A lot of times we don't know what we have until it's gone, right? And for sometimes we can be gone from God, from a higher power, for years and years and years. And then people will finally turn back on their deathbed or something, right? Or when something really bad happens. And I always looked at that and I was like, man, I don't want that to be me, man, And so I had to actively go and question and start to try to find answers to this, Now with your faith kind of reaffirmed, how are you different? What do you feel like has specifically changed about you?
I've always been a very pessimistic person, especially being a fighter. I just think it comes with it, just being, I don't want to say I'm an angry person. I don't have anger issues, but just, being a fighter, you're in pain a lot, and it's just, I don't know, my fighters understand, and I was just a very pessimistic person, very negative, just really really very, very negative. And I've been, as I've come to the Lord, I can say that I've been ridding that. And, I used to walk around I don't want to say looking for fights because I don't like street fighting, but just like with that attitude, like, don't fuck with me. And, you know, I always thought that's like what you're supposed to be like. So, man, like, you know, you're like, it's a man, like, woo, don't fuck with him, you know? But I'm learning that that's not what manliness is. I'm trying to be like Jesus. So I'm trying to be a lot more graceful, trying to help people around me and see the positivity in life. So those are the changes that I'm making in life.
That's great, man. And do you feel like your life has gotten better in that?
Yeah, I would say, yeah. Definitely. It's a process, you know, struggling with the faith is the process, but yeah.
I read this thing and it said that like, we will struggle with faith forever. Like there's never going to be a moment where you're like 100% in every way. Like, yes, you can be really close, but like, it's always being in that moment of continually learning, connecting, growing closer and closer and closer. I mean, every time you open your Bible, don't you find something new that hits you? How many times have you read it and looked at it, right? And it's just like, that's that continued growth. And I think as a man and as a fighter, you're never like, oh, I'm the best, trying to get better every time, right? And as a man, we're trying to get better throughout this entire lifetime. With our faith, we're trying to grow stronger and stronger and closer to God. So I think that, you know, it's always a continuous process. I get hard on myself sometimes because, you know, we mess up, right? Or we kind of regress, or we do something where it's like, man, I was good for so long. And then, you know, and it's like, I think when people can hear like, hey, that's a part of it, you know, like being low, having the ups and downs, that's a part of it. But no matter what, and what I try to say and preach to people in terms of what I just put out there is like, just stay the course, just keep walking, next foot.
Yeah.
So with that, how was it when, okay, you love fighting, you feel this is your calling. I know you had some great wins, and first let's talk about that actually. Like, what was it like when you won your first MMA fight?
My first, amateur MMA fight, that was great. It was a moment I was looking forward to a lot in my life. And it was just like a confirming moment. Like, yeah, that's what I do. This is what I do. Like, but you know, I would say it was kind of uneventful. Honestly, because this is what I do. Yeah. Like it was a fight. Like it was different. But just another scrap. And I won. It was in front of people, and it was cool. But yeah,
I think that's one of the aspects of people who are high achievers and who have high standards for themselves, and they believe in themselves fully. Like, if you believe you are the greatest, you won. Okay, that's what should happen, right? You know, and I think that's something that's always like the pitfall of high achievers or people who hold themselves to a high standard is winning is expected. You know, and so like anything deviating from that is just like, no, it doesn't happen. But then we forget to give ourselves the praise, the recognition, the grace, and like, hey, like, you did good, man, you know, and forget to pat our own selves on the back sometimes. And that's, I think, is an important thing in my understanding, because if we don't do that, then that means we're relying on external, you know, other people saying, hey, good job, man, good fight, good, you know, everybody else hyping you up. And it's like, well, there's going to be some days where nobody's around to hype you up. Who's going to hype you up? You know, who's going to say you did good? Are you proud of yourself? You know? Yeah. And so that's that moment when you pat your own self on the back, that's an important part that I've learned in my life, you know? But it's tough because you're like, bro, that's what I do. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You know, that makes sense to me that you have that, because all high achievers, I think, really do struggle with that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the losses. What was your the first time you had your first MMA loss? What was that like?
It's kind of something that I didn't expect. You know, I said this is always what I felt like God had for my life. So taking the losses the way I did was like really shook me up. Really, like, it was really a test for me, because I thought, dude, you know, I did really good I've always been a winner. So when I took a loss, like I took losses as a child, but taking a loss on a big stage like that in front of people I care about, like, it was tough because I didn't expect it, but it was tough. It was a test.
Yeah.
It was a test. So
I don't want to press too hard, but I do want to unpack it a little bit more. Like, what were you feeling, man? Like, were you at a real low point? Were you questioning if this is really what you wanted to do? I imagine, dude, everyone takes losses in life no matter what it is that they do, man. And it's never about like how hard you get hit, right? It's like, how many times you can get back up, or how, I don't know, I probably fucked up the quote, but you know what I mean? It's always about getting back up. And so with that, like, you're confronted with it face to face. You're literally like, all right, what am I going to do? Here's what I'm feeling. Like, can you walk me through that a little bit more?
So my first like MMA loss, I go back and I was really upset. I didn't understand what happened. I knew I took the fight on a day's notice, but I was upset. I had taken the fight. I had a lot of things going on in my life, and all my fighters know what's up. You got shit going on in your life. You're like, damn, I need to fight. I need to fight right now. And it was one of those things. Like, I needed some violence in my life, and the opportunity presented itself, and I was like, let's go do this. And I thought it was gonna like fix me. So when I lost and I went back there, I was just like, bro, what the hell just happened? Like, it was tough. I ran that night. That night, I ran. I remember going back. I saw a friend before I got home, and then I went home, and that night I ran. I don't know how I ran far. I ran a lot because I was upset, because it was like I could have beat that guy. I got caught because I wasn't training, and I was upset. So that night I ran, and it just motivated me to go push for the next one.
So in that run, let's zoom in there. That's a moment I've had, and I think a lot of people have had, when they're like really, like, they're grappling with something mentally that's tough. They're freaking just going for a drive, or going to go run, or just hitting the bag, or just whatever it is, getting in the gym, going for a walk. Like, you just got to do something, because your mind is just working, right? You're trying to get through this. So I imagine you're going on this run. Like, what's going through your head when you're on this run?
I need to get better. Like, fuck that shit that just happened. Like, that's not gonna happen to me again. I'm gonna go get better. And that was a run. I wasn't necessarily running to go clear my mind. I was running to go, like, I need to be better. So let's go put in the work. Like, if it's gonna start tonight, it's gonna start tonight, but we're gonna be a winner. So let's go put this work in. And that's what that was.
Hell yeah. So you were basically like, all right, training for the next fight, getting better, improving starts now.
Yeah, it was also probably, like, if I'm being honest, a little bit of punishment to myself. Like,
okay.
You lost, motherfucker, go run. Like, it was kind of like that too. But it's just fighter shit.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing that, other people are trying to understand. It's like, what is that like, So the punishment for sure. Okay, yeah. I get it. So you came out of that run, and when did you get into the headspace of like, all right, I'm bouncing back, I'm ready to go? Were you changed after that loss? Like, did you feel like you changed?
The first loss was just like, let's just move forward. It happened, but I took the fight on a day's notice, and I fought somebody who had already fought for a title. Like, the guy I fought was really good, like really good. It was nothing, it was nothing necessarily. Objectively, it was nothing against me. I was eating an ice cream sandwich when they called me. Hey, you want to fight? I was like, all right, whatever. Yeah, I'll fight. I put it down. I posted on my story. I'm fighting. Let's go. And I fought someone that was really good, and I did really good in the fight. But I was just like, let's just move forward. Yeah.
Got you. All right. So then you go back into the ring. What's your record at this point?
So right now I'm 2-4.
Okay.
2-4 amateur MMA. So after that fight, I took another 2 losses. But it was tough, bro. It was tough.
Yeah, but, bro. I imagine.
But I love that people see me go through that, because people also see me win now. People see the animal I am now, and I ain't taking no losses like that no more. So people can see that it's not over till it's over.
100%, bro. I mean, people looking at anything, they'll be like, oh, the first one didn't work out, second, well, you got lost. I think so many people don't respect what it even takes to step in the freaking ring or the cage for a sparring match, man, let alone a real fight like that, and people don't know what it takes for someone to go out there and to go and start up their own gym, start up their own business, to go and do something where they're creating or really like putting it all, risking it all. Right. And there's this quote that on my sweater here, it actually says, only those who risk are free. And I've had so many wealthy people, so many people who have done great things and accomplished a lot in life really resonate with that saying, only those who risk are free, because it really does take you like putting it all out there on the line. Like, you may lose in this fight. You'll never know if you're going to win if you don't risk that loss. Right? And what did it feel? I mean, of course, another win, brush it off. That's what you do. But also, like, didn't it feel pretty good sometimes when you get your hand raised or when you have that submission? Like,
the comeback win was insane.
Yeah,
for sure. It was for sure a moment for me. Comeback win was insane. I remember talking to my homie Ezekiel. Shout out Ezekiel Michael, another MMA fighter. That's my dog, bro. We were cutting weight and we were talking to him. And I was like, man, all these motherfuckers call me loser, did this and that. Watch, I'm gonna show these motherfuckers. Watch. I'm not a loser. Like, I'm Johnny Garcia, homie. I'm gonna go do this. And so when I won, I remember screaming, I'm back. Cause I'm back. Like, I'm not losing no more. Like, I'm a winner and I'm back. And that felt amazing going through after the losses, cause the losses were tough. It was a loss. And then I worked harder and then I lost again. And then I worked even harder and then I lost again. And that third loss was tough. That third loss kind of, I'm not gonna say it wrecked me mentally, but it was tough. I remember being like, nah, I'm not gonna let this loss affect me. I'm not. And then slowly but surely, as a fighter, you kind of identify with like your wins and your losses.
Yeah.
And
like how much you're valuing yourself or what you're worth, or are you really capable? Like,
and I felt like a loser. Like, I lost and I had people I care about verbally tell me I'm a loser.
Wow.
And I had to like really pull myself out of that and be like, I'm not a loser, bro. Like, and I had to work really hard, bro. This amateur level this amateur level in California for MMA is really high level. It's really high level. You have to work really hard to win. And all I fight is high level guys. I fight the best of the best. So I win, I put the work in, and I'm back. So that's that.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. Hell yeah, man. I love that. So many people would have quit first loss. People would have quit second loss.
Yeah, you know what? Somebody asked me. Somebody asked me right after. Okay, so after my second loss, on my way to the back room, somebody, it's like I consider them a family friend, asked me like, "You still want to fight?" I was like, I'm a soldier, homie. What are you talking about? Like, of course I still want to fight. Like, there's 2 losses. Like,
yeah.
That was a moment for me. And then another moment was after my third loss. There was a time where I wasn't really training that much. And I remember sitting at the table and my mom asked me, she was like, "You still want to fight?" And I was like, "What do you mean? Do I still want to fight?" Like, of course. And it just let me know, like, oh shit, like, I'm not being a fighter right now. I don't look like I want to fight. Like, my mom asking me, bro, this woman knows me. And if she's asking me if I still want to fight, I knew I had to get off my ass. I knew I had to get off my ass. And I did. And I did. I got off my ass and I changed everything. That was a moment for sure.
Yeah.
I changed everything.
Because you said from the beginning, your mom and your family believed in you and had faith in you, and that's what felt like you felt, hey, I can go do this, and that helped you. Now she's looking at you and saying, hey, what's going on? What do you want to do? Seems like she's going to support you no matter what, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, if she's supporting you as a fighter, you have to be a fighter, right?
Yeah. I was at a low point mentally, and I just wasn't doing the things I needed to be doing. But I've always had a responsibility. Like, I'm the oldest man in my family, not just in my immediate family, but my cousins and my tias. We're all very close, and I feel a responsibility to step up and take care of everybody and be that man and the head of the family. And that's how I'm going to do that, through fighting. And so for my mom to be like, hey, you still going to do that? I was like, all right, we're changing this shit right now. And I have, and we're on our way there.
I love it, man. You know, I could tell, I'll just be straight up. I saw like, hey, record isn't how you wanted to start off, right? But at the same time, I saw in your fights when I was watching you that you came with fire, you came with intensity, that the people that you were also your submission game was, dude, you were great. Like, you were finding like different types of submissions, your triangles and all that. I was like, dang, bro, you were really like, immediately from striking, you switched into being very technical on the mat. That was really cool to see, because you came out like you like to throw heavy shots. To be able to have heavy shots and good grappling game, and the ability to like know when to like pull guard, how to move all this out. Like, I'm not a fighter, I don't know all that, but I do understand that there was a good amount of technical skill that I saw you displaying. That was really freaking cool. And the people you were fighting weren't any joke. Like, you were competing at a high level, they were competing at a high level too. I was watching a great fight, but I was also watching like, hey, this is two men like battling it out fully. That was pretty cool to see. So I could tell, I was like, man, like, you with the passion, someone who has a passion like you and the faith, and you fight with the fire, that's one thing where it can be something that can be diminished and dampened. And if you don't feel like you have that same passion, fire, and energy, that might be the impetus for you to spiral, for you to, you know, turn to other things, for you to lose faith with God, for you to, you know, go about a life where you're trying to figure this out and you're questioning, and maybe you are embodying now, I am a loser, you know? And I was like, nah, bro, like, I need to go talk to Johnny. Like, we need to see what's up. Cause I could tell you're like back on your grind and stuff. I'm like, I see you reading like the Bible verses. I was like, hell yeah, bro. It seems like that fire got reignited, but now it's one that's rooted in like faith and being a man and like really going full force in this. Would you resonate with that?
Yeah, bro. I want to be great. I've always wanted to be great.
Yeah.
There's been times in my life where I've strayed from working and doing the things I need to do to be great, but I've always wanted to be great. I want to be great. You know, I want to be a great man, and I want to be a name, bro. I want to be a pillar to my community. So yeah. I just want to be great.
Yeah. That's awesome, bro. Why? Why are you not okay with average, Johnny?
I just feel like it's instilled in me. God has plans for me. So God has plans for me to be great. I'm going to go be great. And that's why I work so hard. Because if God has plans for me, who am I to not put the full effort towards him? Like, if God has a plan for me to be a fighter and build my platform, who am I to withhold any effort from him in every training session? Because God put me on a plan. Who am I to be like, oh God, I'm tired today, I'm not gonna go to practice. God, I'm tired today, I'm just gonna course through this round. Like, nah, bro, I'm working for the Lord. Like, I'm on a mission for the Lord. And so through every training session, through every workout, I think about that now. I didn't always think about that. You know, my motivation used to come, and it still does kind of, but, you know, it used to come from pain. But, you know, now that I have the Lord in my life, it comes from, you know, knowing that I have the Lord in my life and knowing that I'm doing his plan, and that helps me out a lot.
I think so many people don't realize that, yes, a fist, a kick, person fueled by rage, anger, and fire is formidable and scary, right? I don't think people realize how violent, how dangerous a fist fueled by faith is. A man fueled by faith is, you know, because you walk in with the strength, not of the strongest version of you, but the strength of God with you, you know, and that is in the times in which I've been able to mildly tap into something like that when I was really in a moment when playing rugby and it was physical, or in the times in which, you know, I sparred a little bit, or just in being able to speak to fighters like yourself and to see how like the look in your eyes was probably different after you had that prayer with your dad, you know, and to see that switch flip is something where I'm like, whoa, like this person is connected at a higher level here. And so it seems pretty powerful, for you to be able to have that kind of moment there, now that you're like fueled by it in every step of the way. Cause bro, you can show up and do the training sessions, right? But who are you outside the training sessions? What you doing? Are you taking care of your sleep? Are you taking care of your nutrition? Are you showing up as a man that's respectable, has, you know, has character and carries himself with the presence? Are you representing your family's name and God's name and the things that you live in your life? Like you got the fighting and the training, and now you're going there. And then once it extends and saturates every aspect of your life, man, that's when it's like, bro, that's the next level. And it seems like that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, that's real, bro. You know what? Fuck this fighting shit and fuck everything. Whatever God's plans for me, that's my plan, to be a great man for the Lord. So whatever happens, whatever I got to do to be a good man for the Lord, that's what's going to happen, bro.
Absolutely.
So as you mentioned, you know, being a respectable person, you know, that's what's more important than anything, bro, is being a good person to the people around you, to being a good influence, spreading the word, you know. That's what's more important than anything.
Absolutely, man.
So,
and it goes beyond where it's like people often say, like, you know, in fighting, it's like you're looking at the record, you're like, oh, whatever, or like that's what determines if you're good or not. It's like, nah, man, it's about the man that you are, right? Because somehow or another, whether you freaking go and you're a UFC champion, what happens after you can't fight after a certain age, right? I mean, everyone has a time in which they gotta hang it up, right? Everyone has to think about that. I mean, maybe you don't want to, but whether you're playing football, basketball, whether you're going to regular work, you know, there's a time in which, hey, it just ain't gonna be the same. And what is life after that? Are you no longer a man of faith? Are you no longer a man of character and integrity? Are you no longer supporting and caring for your family? You still got to do all that, right?
yeah.
So that's why it's like, I've seen with people when it's like, when you have that faith in God and it saturates everything that you do, no matter what happens in your career or anything, you'll be able to stand the test and to be that man for your family and to be that pillar. And you'll never look at yourself and say, am I a loser? No, I'm a servant of God always. How can God lose? God doesn't lose, right? And so if you're blessed by God and you're serving God, we don't take L's here. That's just not how it is. Yeah, I might be low, might be on my knees, I might not have no money, but I'm gonna figure it out because I'm serving God. When I had that moment, man, for myself, when I realized like, it doesn't matter about the accolades or any of that stuff. It matters about who I am as a man and as a person. And am I giving good and serving? And am I serving God? Like, I felt a faith and a strength in myself that is unshakable. For me, that's where I finally fostered like a self-belief, is because, shoot, man, none of this is for me, man. This is all to help and to spread a positive message. And I'm just grateful every day that I can do it and to serve like that, you know? So no matter the L's, you know, you saw we had to change locations, right? Like stuff happens, right? Like you take L's all the time, man. We bounce back and we'll get it and we'll come stronger. Hey, bro, like you're gonna have a great career in whatever it is that you do. That's it, right? And that's when you will excel, is because you are at that moment where you're like, every part of my being surrenders to God. You have that moment after the prayer every single second you're alive.
Yeah, you know, nowhere in the Bible does it say life's going to be easy, bro. Nowhere in the Bible does it say life's going to be easy. As a matter of fact, the Bible talks a lot about suffering and working through that and trusting God through suffering. And it talks a lot about working hard. So, yeah, man, whatever you want to do in life, things are going to come to stumble you, to block your way ahead. Like, you got to learn how to zig and zag. And, you know, that's a skill. That's a skill. Learning how to, like, zig and zag with the things life throws at you is a skill. Learning how to just mentally deal with that is a skill.
Yeah.
I was on the beach, you know, the king of the cage flew me out there. and I had a bunch of money from my sponsors, thankfully. And I remember walking down to the beach the morning before the fight. You know, my teammate's like, "What the fuck you doing walking down to the beach, bro?" But I walked down there and I just had a moment, bro. I remember tearing up a little bit because the summer before that, I slept in my car a lot, dog. And so for me to work, I worked really hard, bro. I worked really hard. And a year later, I'm flown out to this beautiful beach on Oregon on King of the Cage's dime because they want me to come and fight and me to put on a show. We was the only amateur fight on the card, so they wanted me to go out there.
Yeah.
And I had money in my pocket from all my sponsors. I made a lot of money from my sponsors that fight. I was just like, wow, I can do this, bro. I can do this. Like, it takes hard work, but like, if you want something in life and it's really the plan God has for you and you really work hard at it, I mean, really work hard. Not like, I'm working hard. Yeah, I'm working hard. No, like really grind and really on that grind. Things will pan out. Things will pan out.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
And that was really cool.
That's cool, brother. And so when people have those moments where they get really low and like they want to quit, or they're in that place in which they're like, man, like, I don't know if I can keep doing this, you know? Let's zoom in for a second on you as a fighter and to understand what happens when you just didn't see it. The shin is now in your face. The uppercut just connected. Whatever, like the spinning back fist, somehow this guy just connected. Your brain's fuzzy, your vision's gone, your legs feel wobbly, you don't feel the strength, the movement. What's going on when you take a big shot or like something happens that, like, how do you stay in the fight? What are you thinking? And like, how do you remain faith and steadfast and like, I'm still here? Like,
honestly, mentally, every time I've ever gotten kind of rocked, my brain probably thinks, let's go, motherfucker. Like, there's no like scared or like or nothing. Like, it's just, hey, let's go. Like, I eat those. Like, let's go, motherfucker. Like, it makes me feel good, if anything. So,
you're feeling like present.
Like, we're in a fight. Now we're in a fight. Now we're in a fight.
Yeah.
Now we're in a real fight.
Okay, now come back to, sometimes you see the people who get cracked and then they get rage, right? You see people get cracked and then they're like, they're fighting different. How do you come back to technical, breathe, remember your fundamentals, you know, bob and weave type stuff, protecting against takedowns? How do you come back to feeling that swell of emotion and then come back to being technical and engaged while you're still recovering?
That's experience because I know that if I just go chase after him, I'm gonna get hit again the same way I just got hit. So I'm gonna be smart, and that's experience. I like, all right, I came in with a combo, boom, I got rocked. All right, I'm gonna find a different combo to come in with. It's just kind of, thankfully I have a lot of experience, so it's just kind of, what's the next chess move? What's the next play on the board I'm gonna do?
Yeah,
So,
got you. So just about like having reps.
it's just like, yeah, just experience. It wasn't always like that, you know. When I first started fighting, it's just a lot of, I'm gonna get my skills ready and then we're gonna go in there and just let it all fly.
Yeah.
But you know, you get to this higher level, it's a chess game, so you're just really thinking about the next chess move.
What about when you were younger and had less experience? How did you handle that? Like, how were you taught to work through that? Was there anything that was helpful for you? Because I think a lot of people get rocked in life, whether it's through a punch or whether it's they lost their job, or something happened where their freaking car broke down and they can't get to work. Something happened, you know, they lost a family member, something like that. People get rocked and they get shaken and they like, whoa, I had a plan, I had everything figured out. I was coming in, I was throwing combos, I know I was going to work this job, whatever. And then boom, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face, right? How are you taught to cope and deal with that? Because I think that extrapolates for people to take in at any level.
There's nothing good that comes out of quitting. The only good thing you're going to get out of a negative experience, you're only going to get it out of moving forward and trying to learn from that. So, you know, whether it's you know, I went in and I threw a combo and I got rocked, or it's I lost a job, or, you know, whatever people's thing might be. It's just gonna move forward. Nothing good gonna come out of just being like, this sucks, like, like nothing good is gonna come out of that. Like, you know, like, you gotta get to the next chess move, and you're not gonna make a good chess move if you're all like stuck in your head, all angry about what's going on. So
I think, that makes a lot of sense. And I think there's an aspect too in fighting that makes it so real, where it's like, bro, you just got cracked. He's still hitting you. He's still throwing combos. You're still in the fight. You look at the clock. You still got 2 minutes, right? There's no 10-second warning, 30-second. Like, you're still in it. And that's, I think sometimes people will often, you know, I relate this to maybe people calling 911 sometimes too, where it's like something happens that crazy, and then they're like, you know, call the police. Like, bro, the police aren't coming for 10 minutes max, or minimum, right? What are you gonna do? Like, you're in the situation. Okay, you got punched, that hurt, you're wobbled, you realize this is real. What are you gonna do? Just stand there and quit, say stop? Is he gonna stop? He says, stop. You know what I mean? I'm done, you know? Like, maybe, because there's refs in the fight, but I mean, in the world, the bills don't stop, the responsibilities that you have don't stop, the family doesn't stop needing to be taken care of. None of it stops. What are you gonna do? You're just gonna sit there and just be like, like, I need a break. And you see so many men, they're trying, they go to the bar, they gotta go drink, they gotta go escape, they gotta go whatever vice, right? And they gotta go run to it. And I feel like if you really take life fully serious and you treat it like how you get to experience it, like, the only thing you can do is keep going, right? Like, your brain never goes to, I'm gonna quit, I'm gonna stop. You know, what does it go to? It just goes to, like, what does it go to?
It's just keep going. What's the next best move?
There's nothing else, right? And I think that's the mindset of a winner. I think that's the mindset of someone that is forever, you know that is inside you, that you are not a quitter, that you're not someone who stops when it gets hard. And like, that's what's going to propel you, and I see can propel you to success in the ring, in the cage, wherever you end up doing in life, man. That's that thing where it's like, hey, life's going to throw stuff at you. You can get rocked, you can take losses, stuff's going to happen, but it's like, nah, if you keep staying in there, and my life has been a testament to that, you know. And I know that so many people may be watching this and thinking like, dang, bro, like, I'm a fighter and I just had a loss, or, I just quit my job, or I just lost my job, or whatever. And it's like, hey, you got two options: give up or keep going.
Yeah, for real. You got two options, bro.
I'm not someone who was born with the second one of giving up, so I only got one. Seems like you don't have that one either.
Yeah, bro. I'm thankful, you know. My parents are good people, and I don't know if it's just, you know, I'm thankful. My parents are good people. My father's a good man. My mom's an amazing woman, and they instilled good principles in me. And with that comes not quitting.
Yeah.
Not quitting.
Well, also, and also, when has God ever quit on you?
Yeah, for real, bro. For real.
Never, right?
Bro, I've yelled at God. I've been so angry with God. I've strayed from God. I've done so many things that God would not be proud of. And right when I was ready to come back, he was right here, and he's blessed my life so much. So yeah, God don't ever give up on you, bro. He's always just like, he's always right there waiting for you to come back. It's always right there. Sometimes it's really, really hard. So to anybody struggling, bro, sometimes it could take months, years of just like really trying, really, really trying. But as soon as you completely surrender your heart to the Lord, He will show Himself in your life. So.
Dude, that's super powerful, man. I love that. So I guess I want to talk about your overall plans. Like, you know, what do you hope to accomplish in your MMA career? Like, what do you see coming out of it? You know, I know that you talked about like the publicity and the notoriety that you garner. You want to draw attention to allow people to hear the word through you, through that platform, right? Because everyone who they're listening to, the famous people, the people they see, the big names, right? And so you're thinking, I want to draw that attention and divert it and give it to God. And like, what else are you thinking about with your plans for your MMA career?
Man, I want to be a pillar of my community, bro. I want to be a pillar of my community. I understand like how uneducated a lot of my community is, a lot, like how led astray we are, and how difficult life can be, bro. And I feel like God's made me a strong person, and He's got a plan for me. And I want to use my platform to spread positivity, whether it's, spreading the word of God, or educating people on finances, or I'm gonna be a real estate agent.
Awesome.
Soon. So whether it's selling people homes and spreading positivity, and I just want to be a pillar to my community. I want to help everybody, not just my family, but my people, because my people are good to me, so I want to be good to them, bro. My people support me, and I want to work hard to return the favor.
100%, man. I resonate with that in every way, and that really drives there is no quitting, there is no throwing in the towel, there is no giving up, because how many people have helped you? How many people have supported you? And it's like, I know you probably made promises the same way I made promises. Like, I'm gonna make sure when I make it, I'm gonna put you on, I'm gonna give back. I wanna buy my mom the house. I wanna take care of them, And I know every young man who's striving to do something wants that,
Yeah, bro.
And so it's like, hey, somehow you're gonna figure it out, right?
Yeah, bro. Realistically, my family's not gonna be in the same place it is now in 10 years.
Absolutely.
And that's a fact.
Yeah.
So however I gotta scratch and crawl my way up there, it's gonna happen, bro. And that's the mentality.
Exactly. I love that, man. That it's the only way.
Yeah,
it's the only way.
Yeah.
It's the only way. And when I think you serve and you have faith, that's the way that you're gonna win too, is by doing that.
Definitely, bro.
I love that, man. So I guess one of the things I'm curious about is like, when people think about fighting, right? Like, a lot of people watch fights, but few have ever really been in a fight. You know that, right? Like, you go dinner at Chili's or something, right? Like, 2 people in there, and then 200 maybe have been in a fight, and one was probably a fight when they were in 7th grade or something, like, and the other one was like at a drunk bar fight. Very few people have actually been in a fight, especially here in California, in America, right? What do you think most people misunderstand about fighting or being in a fight?
In a street fight, people don't understand how dangerous it is. Especially nowadays, bro. Shoot. All my homies, bro, don't even try fighting. Don't even try fighting. Turn the other cheek, bro. Turn the other cheek. Because, especially right now, ain't nobody fighting fair. Nobody's gonna fight you fair. And if they do, and they lose, they're probably coming back. And there's nothing good about street fighting. A bar fight, all it takes is, I'm gonna break this bottle, I'm gonna stab you, and your life's over. Like, there's nothing good comes out of street fighting. So I would say people don't understand how dangerous street fights could be. Even if you win, bro. Let's say I knock some dude out, but I happen to hit his teeth on my knuckles, and then now whatever he's got, I got. Like, there's so many bad things that can come out of street fights. So I think people don't understand how dangerous real violence is. But in the cage, what people don't understand, how much of a chess match it is, and how much it takes to really fight at that level. I think people don't really understand. Like, I think they have a concept of it, being like, when an athlete works hard, you look at a basketball player, a football player, whatever, but like, to fight at that level, a lot, especially the background a lot of fighters come from, just to get to the high level, to the UFC, is not just a mission like that's with like physical, training and all that. There's so much more that, fighters, we don't go to college and get like some fund and all we get to do is train all day. Like, we gotta support ourselves and, the people we have, and And then on top of that, we gotta train to be the best. On top of me training, bro, I gotta train to fight the fools in Dagestan right now that are running in the snow and all the crazy stuff they do. I'm gonna fight those guys and pretty soon. And so on top of training for that, I have to, support myself. I gotta work. I gotta take care of like all these other things. So, and that's me, but that's all these fighters. This is what we do.
Yeah.
And so to get to that level, that UFC, bro, you see someone in the UFC, even if they take a couple losses and they get cut, like, bro, that fighter probably went through a lot to get there. And so people don't understand how much it takes to get to that level.
Yeah. So there's the aspect of, in a street fight, people don't understand what real violence actually is and how it's not, there's no referee, there's no rules, there's no fair, it's just, people can just shoot you in the back, basically.
Yeah, there's nothing cool about it.
Yeah.
There's nothing cool about it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people need to understand that, because a lot of people come in, take a couple MMA boxing classes, they think they're hot shit at the bar, and then, they just want to start something or whatever. And it's like, bro, I wish people really understood, like, what real violence is and how quickly any person can escalate to a level, I think everybody's a killer inside. They just have to be pushed their limits, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, really, you're messing around with that? Like, you really think this is cool? What happens? You knock the guy out and, he ends up hitting his head on the corner and the guy's dead. Now you just have a murder charge? Were you trying to do that? Or did he just, he looked at your girl and now, now you're out here, you just changed your entire life, and you look back, like, it happens, man. We've heard stories, people in my family, It's like, bro, I just wish that people could really understand, especially coming from you as a fighter. You're not trying to have no street fights, man. I bet you people press you though, and you're like, bro. You're like, bro, don't be honking that horn that second time, man, behind me. Don't do it.
Yeah, I'm like, you're lucky I'm a man of the Lord, bro. Yeah. But yeah, I've always kind of understood that, bro, violence, people talk about it. It's fun to talk about. It's fun to rap about.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen real violence, been a part of real violence, bro, there's nothing cool about it. There's nothing cool about it, bro. So.
Yeah, I think that's a good message that people really need to hear, and it shouldn't be something that's like glorified in any way. And I think people need to realize, like, when you do win in your fights and your matches, even in the cage, it's like respect, right? Like, I know that you respect to the coaches, assuming there's something going on or whatever, but like, there's respect to the other fighters, respect to people. It's like, this is a sport of the deepest respect. Most of the fighters I've met are the most chill, mellow, cool, like, peace, love type of people, and I think because on the other end is like, they'll fight to the death, I think they've seen it real. A lot of people don't have that grounding in reality to be able to like actually enjoy how beautiful life is without having to fight every second,
Yeah, definitely.
So I guess we talked about some advice to people here, both in the street fight and then, in the fight, people don't realize like how much it takes just to even get into that ring, how much it takes like to be able to withstand punches, to be tactical and calculated, all of the grappling you had to do, all of the kicking, all of the striking, all of the running, all of the nutrition, everything 2-3 times a day for months just to get to that point.
And there's nothing cool. It's cool when it's over, but like fighting is real tough. It's real tough.
Yeah. So now, we've laid it out there. We're open with it. What advice? Because say there's somebody still out there who's crazy like you. I'm gonna say it, bro. You're crazy. I think all these people are crazy when it's like we're pursuing something like you want to actually go out there and be the best fighter and be a champion. You want to go out there and to change your family's life, and like, in a small way or in a big way, you want to spread the word. You want to change the world, right? I share the same message. I want to change the world. That's crazy, bro. That's a crazy thing to say, right? And that it's deviant and different than what most people think or believe is possible and what they want to do with their life, But there's some people like that who are going to be watching this. There's a kid out there who has that same spark and that fire that you had, that you were like, he doesn't know why, but this is what he was born to do, So like, what advice would you have for anyone thinking of starting a career in martial arts or fighting, and what advice there?
If you want to be a real fighter, like UFC, like you want to do this for your life, I say rethink it. Honestly. Unless it's like you feel like it's your only path, or unless you're like really, really talented, have like good support system. Bro, this sport is not for the weak. This sport is not for the weak. Every time I go in that cage, it's me against another man, and that man's got the same dreams I do. And I work hard, bro. I work hard. I feel bad for anybody that has to step across the cage for me, because I train hard.
Yeah.
So rethink it, bro, because the sacrifices you have to make to succeed in this sport, you think you know, but you don't really know until you're in it, until you're really fighting.
Yeah.
So, think about the sacrifices that you're gonna have to make. If you have other routes, take the other routes. If you want to train for fun, train to learn how to like defend yourself, that's cool. And with that being said, if you want to be a real fighter, get with the Lord and get used to suffering, bro. For real. For real. Get with the Lord and get used to suffering.
Yeah.
Because this sport is tough. But with that being said, there's great things that come from the sport. So I would say, if you're thinking about it, you got some other options, take the other options. But if you're gonna do it, let everything go. Let everything go. Just like kind of similar to like, if you want God, you gotta die to yourself. You want to be an MMA fighter, bro, you gotta live like a warrior. I don't get to go to the bar. I don't get to go hang out with my friends at the club. I've never been to a club, a bar. Like I don't party. Like, I got friends. If we hang out, we're probably hanging out at the gym. Like, you have to live like a warrior, because if you don't, you're gonna get hurt. You're gonna get hurt. Like, you can get hurt real bad. Amateurs is cool. I mean, but with the pros, in the pro, bro, you can get your life changed. I mean, even in these amateurs, you can get your life changed. So, and that's why I say, like, rethink it, because if you're not gonna put those sacrifices to be one of the best, the odds are the sport's gonna chew you up and spit you out, and that's reality of the sport, bro.
Yeah.
So, but if you're gonna do it, get with God and go all the way.
Bro, that seems like great advice. And people doing anything, if you're going to do anything in life where you really want to commit to changing the world, you really want to be the best, you really want to be a champion, you really want to say it loud and proud with your chest, I am the greatest there will ever be. Like, you want to actually do that, you gotta go full force in everything that you do. I've never seen a champion who didn't believe in themselves to the very core of their being, and they weren't backed by something beyond them. They weren't doing this for something bigger. They were doing this for something bigger than them too, And so it's like, people say that they want to, like, they speak about wanting to change the world. They speak about, wanting to do these great things. And it's like, bro, if you speak about that, live like that in every single way, because this is no joke goal. This is a no joke goal, man. And so I'm glad that you gave that disclaimer, because fighting's not just something where you're like, oh yeah, I'm just going to try it out. It's like, I mean, I guess you can go try it out, but like, if you really want to do it, you got to really be about it, because they're going up against people like you who said, hey, I'm not afraid. I'm stepping in here. I'm fighting for a mission and a purpose. I train hard. Let's see who's the better man.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
You ever afraid, are you afraid about death? Like, how do you treat that, actually? That's an important thing.
When it comes to the fight?
Yeah.
Nah, I walk in there, whatever God's gonna do, he's gonna do. I don't worry about, like, I know what I sign up for. Yeah. I know the game. Yeah. I know the game we play. We all know the game we play.
Yeah.
I could go in there and come out and I can never see the same. I can never walk the same. I can never grab things the same. But if you worry about that, it's gonna happen to you.
Yeah.
If you worry about that, it's gonna happen to you. So
yeah.
I put all that to bed. Honestly, when I walk out there, I feel nothing. If I prepare correctly and I walk out there, I feel no emotions. I'm a robot. I'm here to do the mission, and that's it. Like, I literally feel zero emotions, provided the training camp is right. If you take a short notice fight, there's gonna be some fear. Fuck, I get tired. I don't want to get tired. I don't want to. I don't know. I haven't been training. This guy's good. But even then, you put your mouthpiece in, tap your cup, you walk in that cage, and a la verga, you go do that shit, no matter what, because fear's not gonna help you in there.
Yep.
Fear's not gonna help you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's important. That's important for people to know. It's like, hey, when you commit, this ain't no time to be scared. You toss the brake out the window. Now it's all gas. Mm-hmm. We're going. Yeah, I love that you shared that, and that's a great mentality, bro. And that I could see that's that fire that you fight with and that you approach. And I hope that it seems as if you were taking this to every aspect of your life now, and that's cool, man. Yeah. That's the next level up. I think the Johnny Garcia 2.0 that's about to make his resurgence, man. I think that's awesome. Yes, so the last question to end it off here, Johnny, because this has been a really amazing conversation. I appreciate you diving into these things. I appreciate you being open about a lot of this stuff. Mm-hmm. What do you think God's plan for you is in this life, Johnny? And what are your next steps to go and fulfill it?
You know, I firmly 100% believe that God's plan for me in this life is to elevate through fighting and build my platform and to spread His word and spread knowledge, whether it's, you know, through faith, you know, showing people the word and bringing people to God. But you know, there's so many people that are lost, bro. So many people that, you know, so many people, you know, young men that don't even know how to be men. Young men that don't even, you know, they grew up and they didn't grow up with a dad. They just grew up watching rappers, and that's who they want to be. And I'm thankful. I have a great father, and he instilled in me a lot of good things, and he gave me the Lord, and I feel called to share that and to share that information. And as I grow to be the best man, I'm going to share that information with everybody else. And the better fighter I am, the more people I beat, the bigger platform I have, is the wider audience I'm going to have to spread that. And that's what I feel God's plan for me is. So,
bro, hell yeah, man. That was absolutely amazing, bro. It's a pleasure speaking to you. It's a pleasure being able to hear that passion. And I love that you have the message of wanting to help young men, and you know how blessed you are to have a good father in your life. So many people didn't have that. And when they go and they look and they say, who do I want to be like? Of course, we want to be like Jesus, right? But also, if you can live and embody some of those characteristics and qualities of Jesus, of having faith and compassion and love and strength and discipline and courage and bravery, and you can inspire the young kids who are maybe training in here, the kids who are going to see you on the big screen and be like, no, if they say, I want to be just like Johnny, that'd be a good thing, you know? We're better men in the world, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Fighting's cool, all this stuff's cool, but you know, it's all about getting into the kingdom of God, bro. So, you know, to anybody that, you know, maybe hopefully I do end up inspiring people. And maybe, you know, maybe it's hard. Maybe God's got a different plan for you. Whatever God's plan for you is, that's okay. That's okay. So, you know, love the Lord, and He'll help you live your life.
Hell yeah, man. All right, so you just heard conversation right here with Johnny Garcia, and in this we got to unpack and dive into so much behind the mind of a fighter, and to learn about his faith and passion and purpose in the world here. I'm coming away from this feeling fired up and motivated, and also respect for Johnny as the man that he is, and also a big component that resonates of someone who's trying to do well and to be a good man and to help people be better, young men to be better, and to be a role model of what we want to see. That's all about what Cause to Become is, to become the best version of yourself in every way. And it's absolutely an honor. So before we kind of close it out here, I want to make sure that you guys get the opportunity to know what Johnny's up to and where you can find him. So Johnny, if you want to let the people know where they can find you at.
So you can find me on Instagram and TikTok. It's going to be Johnny Race with the underscore. It's going to be JOHNNYRACE_. Go follow me. I have a fight coming up on March 30th, so tune in.
Let's go. And as always, I'm your host, Elijah Robert-Mahdi Soto. We're blessed and grateful always, and stay the course.